This episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our family of podcasts, head over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia or search for us on the Patreon app on your smart device. Thanks for helping us build something better. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is PC Muscle Race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
You, what's poppin'?
Long sleeves, that's what's poppin'.
Yeah,
hey, LeRon,
real,
you want to hear?
Real, it is way too cold up in this bitch.
You want to hear a funny joke, LeRon?
Well, hit me.
I saw this on Instagram. Why do cows have hooves?
I'm already regretting this. Why?
Because they lack toes.
Hello, Stephanie. How are you doing tonight?
Also joining us is the mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Hey, guys.
I already introed her.
Hey, Stephanie, you want to hear a joke? It's a medical joke, sort of.
Okay.
Did you know that our belly buttons are just our old mouths?
The fuck?
I mean, that's true.
Yeah, kind of.
Also here.
So is the umbilical cord our lips or what?
Yep. Also joining us is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
Haven't done that in a while.
I know.
How's it going?
It's going. It's going well. Hi, everyone.
I watched something.
What's up?
And I'm kind of excited.
I know. I'm excited too. I'm having a good day. I didn't stop work till 7, but it's fine. How's
What
everyone
time did you
doing?
start?
Pretty
8:30?
Pretty good.
Yeah? Great.
Yep.
Great. LeRon, that sweatshirt looks comfy. I know we say that a couple times a month.
It is comfy.
My
I love it. It's kind of a bit oversized, but you know what? It's oversized in all the ways that count.
Yeah, but that's what makes it comfy, is that it's oversized. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, jackets and coats and like hoodies and stuff. I like to get like usually a size bigger.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are a size bigger in your size. Like with some coats, I know I've had coats that felt way bigger than they were.
Yeah. It's a good time. Also, I'm having a good time because I actually went to the doctor this weekend.
Wow.
That was fun.
Finally took our advice, huh, Stephanie?
Yep.
I know. Took how long?
I had all kinds of drugs this week. I had a steroid, an anti-inflammatory, an antibiotic, and an inhaler.
Yeah.
Now here's the question. How long were you sick?
I don't know. A long time.
I'm pretty sure it was like over a month.
It was like
You
3 weeks.
you probably have some lung damage now.
That's fine. Who needs them? No, we're all good.
I've put smoke in mine for a lot of years, so if those can repair from that, you should be good, Corey.
Yeah, I'll be fine. So there's a couple topics this week, but before we get into those, anybody playing anything recently, real quick, before we get started?
I'll keep it short. The Last of Us, just because I'm keeping up with the show, and that's it. My diversity in gaming is kind of in a lull for January because I'm just kind of playing a little bit here, playing a little bit there, and I'm sick because I'm waiting for Hogwarts Legacy. That's going to be like my kicking off point for the for the new year. So
I'm so excited for Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
Are you playing the Last of Us Part 1, like the PS5 version,
Yes.
or are you playing? Okay.
Yes, sorry, I should clarify. The Last of Us Part 1, the one with the awesome graphics and updated enemy AI, which is true, it's a lot harder than I last remember, but it's fine. It's great. Like I immediately got into hunker down mode, conserve like every single freaking thing I could find. Like it's actually a lot of fun. I wasn't sure if I would really enjoy it, not because it's not a good game, obviously, but it, I would never really think of it as a game with replay value, or at least compared to other options. But playing it along with the show has been an absolute joy.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Stephanie, should we announce our first book club episode?
I think
Are
we
we
should.
ready?
I think we should, or at
Okay.
least a teaser, because we definitely need
Okay.
to iron out the dates.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're trying to figure out recording and who's going to be on it and everything. But our first book club episode is going to be the first part of our Harry Potter or our Hogwarts Legacy playthrough.
Oh, nice.
I'm
That's
very,
right.
very excited. So if
Boss
you've been
Rush is
keeping,
about to get canceled.
oh no,
Again, it's
ah,
Sorry.
no, it just means we'll have a whole new audience.
Yeah.
Wait, hmm,
Let's move on.
hmm. So yeah, so if you've been keeping up with Boss Rush social media or on Patreon or whatever, I posted a big thread on Patreon yesterday. Right, yesterday is 24th. Yeah, about kind of the changes coming to um our supplemental stuff. And so we're introducing Boss Rush Presents, and Boss Rush Book Club is going to be added into the fold with Talk the Walk and 1v1 once a month. So Hogwarts Legacy is probably going to take at least 2 episodes, I
Mhm.
think. Maybe 3. I don't know. I've heard the game from the I don't know if you looked at the leaked art book, Stephanie, but there's indication that that game is only about 30 hours long. Main story, 25 to
Okay.
30 hours, and then like a 60 to 70 hour kind of I'm gonna go do everything.
That's a little surprising, but
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense between 2 and 3 depending on,
Yeah.
obviously we'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah. We'll have some sort of interstitial Boss Rush book club if we only have 2 episodes, because May, June, and probably July are gonna be all about Zelda. And
Exactly.
uh don't want to miss that guy. So
Nope.
nope. So but that's coming. So keep an eye out on our social media to find out exactly who and how long and what's going to be about that.
Get
So
Oh
excited.
yeah.
We
I
want you to
am.
Oh yeah.
play along with us.
I really want that interstitial episode to be the Resident Evil 4 remake, LeRon.
That's my
Which one?
vote.
The Resident Evil 4 remake,
Uh
My
the
my
one in
really
between Hogwarts Legacy and
yeah.
Zelda. I
LeRon
know
seems
Star Wars.
hesitant.
I know. I know.
Well, I
We've
mean,
got
I will be playing Resident
There's
Evil. I will
also
be playing
Dead
Resident Evil 4.
Space.
Yeah. Well, that's where I'm definitely gonna be sinking my time into. Like coming up real soon here. Like, I need to test out some things because I have a new graphics card now. I need to test out just differences between recording gameplay. I don't think I'll be recording and streaming at the same time. I think I will be just recording gameplay so I can have stuff to throw back out there. But you never know. You never know.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to look forward to
I
coming
know.
in a very short period of time.
I know.
Oh
Star
yeah.
Wars is
Oh
also on
yeah.
that list somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to space out all these games that are coming out and like how I'm going to spend my money. You know, yeah, because I bought the Dead Space remake a couple of weeks back. I bought the deluxe edition because yeah, it's like repeat of when it came out on PS3. Like I bought the deluxe edition because I want like the weapon packs and of course the costumes. Um
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, my excitement is at an all time high. And I'm just taking these next couple of days easy. Like I haven't really played any games, even though I am looking to mess around and play that new game that hit Game Pass today. I, I
Mm-hmm.
I keep for
Hi-Fi something.
Hi-Fi Rush. There we go.
Yes.
Yep, I'm
Everybody's
downloading
loving
it.
it. Everybody's loving it. What a
Yeah.
crazy, like, because like last week it leaked a little bit that Tango Gameworks was working on a non-horror game.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
But for them to like kind of announce it today and release it the same day. Now it's a smaller
Yeah.
experience. If you don't have Game Pass, it's $30, right? But like it's got a real Sunset Overdrive feel to it
Yep. I was
a little
gonna
bit.
say it. I was gonna say
Well, I
it
never played
definitely
Sunset Overdrive, so I
it
don't
Oh,
know.
you
definitely
should.
looked like that. It definitely looked like a, like, hey, we know people like loved this game. Let's
Yeah.
kind of go for like that kind of feel of the, like, because even in Sunset Overdrive, it was like, you're this like punk rock character, and like,
Hmm.
it's, yeah, very much got that same kind of feel. Uh,
Yeah.
the even the world that you're in is kind of,
Hmm.
it looks like it's just waiting to be parkoured and
Yeah.
grind on ropes and wires and
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about it in a little bit because we're going to talk about the
Mhm,
Xbox Bethesda developer thing today, um,
mhm,
which was very cool. Didn't really blow me away, but I think it was a good first step. Um,
mhm.
LeRon, you playing anything interesting?
I beat Uncharted 4 finally over the weekend.
Yeah. Really
Yay.
Yeah.
long. That game is super
Nice.
long.
22 freaking chapters if you include
Wow.
the epilogue. 20
Yeah.
and I told the guys last night on Crossroads this game had no business being this damn long. Like in all
They could
honesty,
have cut about 10
because like
hours out of it.
yeah, probably. But I know this. Like I thought I was at the end of the game, and then boom, I had another 3 chapters to go through, and I was like, "What
Hmm.
the hell, man?"
Yeah, I
Like
think
I'm
there was
ready to
about.
beat this.
Oh, go
Hmm?
ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just, like angsting because I was ready to beat this game, and I thought I was gonna beat this game that night when I thought it was the end of the game, and then I was like, oh man, like I'm playing another chapter. Like I, I had to stop. I had to stop and save, and I was like, I'll come back to this tomorrow.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's been such a long time since I played it, but I remember when I was playing that game, there was about 2 or 3 times I thought that game was about to end, and then they started a new arc. I
Right?
was like,
Wow.
Yeah, it's
oh,
like
hmm,
yeah. And I will say this too because I started the game like way back when it was brand new on PlayStation 4 and stuff like that, but I lost interest in it. And you know what? Like if it wasn't for me being tenacious this time, I would have lost interest again, after figuring out like wow, like 22 chapters? Come on guys. Come on.
hmm,
But also I'm just going to say this, like Uncharted, I love Uncharted. Uncharted is one in my top 10 of like gaming series franchises and stuff like that. But I feel like they've lost the final boss fights. They've lost their magic,
yeah,
after Uncharted 2, because because Uncharted 3, that boss fight, that was basically a knife fight,
yeah,
with some supernatural like ooga booga going on, and then and this in Uncharted 4 was you were just sword fighting somebody, and I was
yep,
like, man, what happened to the supernatural stuff? Because like, man, like, remember Uncharted 2 when like you were lost in that cave and you saw a freaking Yeti?
yep,
or Uncharted 1 when you're in Shambhala and all of a sudden like cracked out zombies start attacking you and stuff like that,
yep,
yeah, like no, Uncharted has some serious plot twists. I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I love the series overall. I thought I was gonna have enough time to start the Lost Legacy, but I'm not gonna be able to start the Lost Legacy. Not when we have Dead Space breathing down our necks in a day and a half.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of like the I still, for whatever reason, I still loved the very first Tomb Raider, like just how you weren't shooting at people the whole time. It was just like, like the wildlife that you were protecting yourself from while you went through the caves and stuff. I don't know what it was about that, but it was, I don't know. I guess it's just
mm,
like you get so used to every game, like you're shooting at people, and it's just like this, the same thing over and over again. That was just kind of different. It like
yeah,
felt more. It felt more like a like like you were out there by yourself trying to survive kind of thing, and there was no other people around to help you. Like you had to just like basically do it yourself and find your way through these caves and stuff.
Yeah.
There was something about that that just was better, I think.
Yeah. Jesse, you play anything interesting before we kind of move into the showcase?
Yeah, I actually started finally because I had been wanting to get it, and I did end up getting Dying Light 2.
Ooh.
So so it's a pretty good game. I'm not super far into it. I basically just like met up with this guy that's kind of been helping me try to get to this place I need to get to find out more about um like some kind of tech or something that I had been given like this key by a scientist, and the main villain guy killed him trying to find this key thing that he gave to me, and I'm supposed to basically keep it away from this guy. um and it helps you get in like get stuff throughout the game. I'm guessing so far I used it to find some tech that essentially is rare tech to get a hold of, and so like you can use it to kind of con your way into getting help from people or whatever. um I like it so far. But I don't know, like the parkour stuff's pretty fun. But it definitely is kind of like remembering Breath of the Wild. Like when you first started out, you didn't have a whole lot of stamina, and so it kind of like it could suck at times, like trying to get up places or whatever. There you kind of run into that in this game as well. Like you can only climb. You have stamina that goes away when you're climbing uh at first, and so like you have to try to find your way around and not do a lot of climbing. At first you got to try to find different ways to get places, which I guess is kind of fun in its own way. But it's just like I kind of just want to get places. I don't want to have to try to look around for different ways to get there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty good so far. I think I like it already better than
Yeah.
the first one.
Oh,
Um,
there it is.
yeah, yeah. I mean the first one was fine and everything. But there definitely is a lot more to this game than like to keep me interested in continuing it. Because like the first one, I played put quite a few hours into it, but I I kind of got sick of it after a while and never really followed through on it.
Yeah.
But this one I might actually try to pick up from time to time. Though, like LeRon said, we've got so many good games coming out though that are gonna very easily tempt me and pull me away from it. But
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm kind of like Ed, where I can have like 10 different games going on at once that I play, that I switch
What?
between.
No, nah, nah. See, I have way too much ADD for that. Like I will wind up trying to play every game and won't even beat one game.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's usually what I end up doing,
That's the problem
unless
though.
it's
There's
some.
too much choice now. Like I looked
Yeah,
at between the games I own, Game Pass, EA Play, PlayStation Plus Premium, all the Switch stuff I have. There's like over at least probably 1,200 games at least I'm looking
yeah.
at through these subscription services plus games that I've owned over the. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Well,
Then I just turn it off and watch YouTube or something.
that's why when
Go to
like
bed.
people say, "Oh, there's nothing good on Game Pass," or "There's nothing this," or "There's nothing that," and it's like, man, you must have way too much time on your hands, because it takes me
Yeah.
like a year to finish a game
Oh,
these days. It's like I don't
yeah.
I don't have time to just sit down and play it for even hours at a time. It's like maybe I'll get to sit down for about an hour or so, and play,
Yeah.
and that's about it. Like
Well,
a game can last me a long time.
I think that kind of factors into why when people say like there's nothing good to play on Game Pass, because like people will start playing games, and if it doesn't hold their interest, then like there's nothing good to play on Game Pass. It's like the chicken and the egg. Like
Yeah.
they wanna they wanna play something catches their eye, but it doesn't capture their full attention. So they're like, oh, there's nothing good on here.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's but and I do think though that that is kind of one of those things, like there's just a lot of stuff that's changed, like the way we watch TV shows, and now people get upset if they only release an episode one one episode at a time on a streaming service.
Oh,
And it's
screw
like,
that! Like, give me enough.
like
Yeah, that gives me enough time to digest the episode.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's the thing though. There's just different ways of thinking about stuff, and I think like for me, like I think there's way like Corey said, there's so many options on Game Pass that I'm never gonna get to them all.
Hmm.
Like I try to, but that's my problem is I try to, and then I end up screwing up and not finishing something that I should have finished, first.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing is Dying Light 2. So
Nice. I've been playing Fire Emblem Engage. It's really good, except yesterday I read that there is a bug with some of the trials in the game, the emblem trials or whatever. And so like now I feel like I can't play it until this patch is fixed. And so but like the combat is really fun, the characters are cool. I again, I spent so much time in Three Houses that I'm really like attached to those characters and whatever, so like it's taken me a minute to get used to these new characters. And I haven't gotten any of the, because like the whole mechanic is like you gather the emblem rings, and the emblem rings are like the old characters from the series, right? So like the first one you get is Marth, and then the second one you get is Sigurd, and then um you know down the road you get Lucina and Byleth and all these characters from older games. uh but like I guess there's like this kind of game breaking bug in some of the trials if you don't do them some of them correctly or in like a specific way, and
Oof.
Nintendo is investigating a fix on that right now, and so like I'm like scared to go in and play it.
Nintendo be dropping the ball on this. What is this?
I know, and it's kind of weird because it's like a true first party game, right? It's like intelligent systems owned by Nintendo. The game looks really good though, by the way.
And I was gonna ask, if I've never played a Fire Emblem game before, would I still get enjoyment playing Engage? Because I think the whole point of Engage was bringing back old characters. Would I still enjoy it, or would it just go whoosh over my head?
You would, but if so now there's two mainline Fire Emblems on Switch now, right?
Uh-huh.
There's Three Houses, which is more of it went kind of like the Persona social link route, right? Which is like
Mhm.
it makes you more engaged in the characters and the conversations, and you get your social bonuses that way, and your partner status is that way, right? Where you just talk to the characters and do all those things. Whereas this is more of the old school hardcore Fire Emblem, where it's like pretty much just straight up strategy RPG. And if
Okay.
you mess up, you mess up, right? There's no going back. There's no
Like
you know
permadeath?
leveling up the way you want to. Which I mean, there is, yeah. I mean, you can turn permadeath on or off, right? But you turn it off. If you turn it off, it's no fun. Um, but I would say if you're looking to get into Fire Emblem and you're not really into strategy RPGs all that much, or you're like not sure how to jump into a strategy RPG, Three Houses is probably the better one to jump into if you're a first time Fire Emblem player. But if
Okay.
you are really into tactical RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre, or one of those types of games, a
Hmm.
triangle strategy even, or some of the more recent ones that have come out on Switch, Fire Emblem Engage is probably the one you want to go with.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
so
Thank
that's
you.
that's kind of how, like, we talked a little bit about it on Pal Block the other day, And the more I played it yesterday, the more I was thinking about it because I think somebody asked us that question or was talking about it in the Discord or something, right? Where like, oh man, I don't know if I want to jump into Engage. It looks really hard, but I'm interested in Fire Emblem. And I was like really thinking about it last night. I'm like, Three Houses is probably the easier game to jump into. And it's got a lot more RPG mechanics. It's got a lot more non hardcore strategy elements in it. Plus, like this one, they brought back the rock, paper, scissors kind of strategy. So, like,
Mhm.
sword beats lance, lance beats axe, axe beats, or maybe it's the other way around. But like they, certain weapon types are stronger against others. Magic is better against aerial attacks. Like they brought back this whole kind of second and third layer to the strategy, which makes it even more
Okay.
hardcore. Um, so that would be my only thing. But it's an incredible game. It's an incredible looking game. It runs at 60 frames a second, believe it or not, which is hilarious. Um,
Mm.
the only gripe I have about the graphics is like the character models look great, the cutscenes look great, but when you get out on the battlefield, they like zoom in to the like all the whole battlefield is like 3D modeled. So like when they zoom in and you're fighting, like the character models look great, but like you're clearly standing in like this town with a brick road with grass kind of lining the road, but the whole texture is just flat and the brick road is like a flat texture and the grass is a flat texture and like the fences are like a flat texture, right? So that's kind of annoying, but like
Uh,
it's still really fun. I still, you know, recommend it.
okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And I also hooked up a bunch of old consoles last night because I was bored. I played a lot of GameCube and Dreamcast last
Well,
night.
slash you couldn't sleep, but yeah.
Yeah, well, So yeah, I played a lot of those games too. Like I just like we'll play like 20 minutes of like played 20 minutes of Rogue Squadron 2 and Luigi's Mansion and Crazy Taxi and Tony Hawk 2 and you know, I got to tell you, the stack of Dreamcast games I have is definitely like you can definitely tell what kind of games I was into at this time in my life. I have like 6 sports games, Crazy Taxi and Tony Hawk. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, but
so
those are still the best football games.
I know.
It's
NFL
like
2K is
the
pretty good.
2K. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are the best.
Except the Browns are in NFL 2K, but none of the players are in it because the Browns were an expansion team in 99.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
had no idea who was on the roster or anything, so it's just like quarterback number 9. You're like, "Oh, neat." So, uh so a lot of nostalgia there. And I kind of like reset my whole setup to like record some of this stuff someday, maybe one time or two. If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/bossrushmedia, and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support. But that's enough of that. I want to talk about this Xbox showcase. It's pretty. So, Xbox has again kind of changed the way they present their games again for like the third time in the last 2 years. But I think this really works. Except I feel like it was really overproduced. I feel like they could have toned it down a little bit, but overall, I think it was a great kind of Nintendo Direct style presentation with a little bit more personality. Like they brought out the developers and the directors and a lot of the people that are actually working on the games to talk about the games. They kicked it off with Mo Yang with Minecraft Legends. It's kind of like what would you call it? Like a procedurally generated tower defense RPG is kind of what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You guys all
Yeah,
watched or skimmed some of it, right?
Yeah.
A
Or saw
little.
what was at least.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I thought this was actually kind of cool, because I don't I've only like jumped into mine like the actual Minecraft game maybe a few times with my kids,
Mhm.
but like I could actually see playing Minecraft more with my kids with this kind of game just because it gives you something for me that's more, like
It's more
like an
focused.
actual game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, like the whole building and being creative thing is an amazing, thing that they've kind of captured with the Minecraft games, but like I like doing that kind of stuff. It's just not in that form usually. I'm not really the person who's into like the decorating your house and all that kind of stuff in games. Like a lot of people are. I'm more the like creating characters in the WWE games. Like that's like kind of my creative, I guess, place to do stuff in games, but like, yeah, this is I liked this. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, this piqued my interest because, much to my dismay, Nikolai was my son. My 7-year-old son was mentioning Minecraft. And I only say dismay because, like, I don't know, I'm like, play a real video game. Um, Not like all this stupid crap that all the other kids are playing. I don't know. I don't know what kind of weird attitude I have. And he's only mentioning Minecraft because his like neighbor, friend, school friend plays Minecraft. Kid has an Xbox. See, my kid has a Nintendo. You see where things are kind of different now. So Nikolai knows Splatoon, Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, the good stuff. But he has friends who have Xbox, and they have I mean, not that Nintendo doesn't have Minecraft, but you know what I'm saying. Like the IPs,
Mhm.
some have some, not the other. So if when I heard of was this the one Legends, right? Legends is coming out.
Yeah.
I thought,
Mhm.
fine, maybe that's when I'll introduce them to Minecraft. But again, as Jesse just mentioned, like the gameplay and premise is a little different than the original. So
Mhm.
we'll see.
I actually thought the last Minecraft game they put out, what was it, Dungeons? The
Yeah,
Diablo-like game?
that was fun. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was really cool. But yeah, more Minecraft, April 18th, I think it said. So the thing
Yeah,
that excited me about this whole presentation too is like we finally have some sort of roadmap for Xbox. We've been waiting for so long.
Exactly.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, so I noticed something though. So like they said it was cross-platform, but it said that it's only coming like that part of that looks like it's only coming to Xbox and PC, right?
What,
Like I
Minecraft?
didn't see that Minecraft
It,
add-on stuff. It didn't say
it's
anything
coming
about
coming to
Switch or anything.
everything. It's coming to
Oh,
everything.
okay.
Nintendo Life
Okay.
and all the Nintendo sites posted that it's
Oh,
coming
okay.
same day and date crossplay. Uh,
Okay.
I think they were just advertising because, like, who knows if they're allowed to like say, you know, I guess they could have said other consoles, but like,
Yeah.
they license the Nintendo logo to throw in a trailer. Like, I probably,
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah.
but all the press releases and stuff for it said it's coming to Switch and PlayStation as well, and PC,
Okay.
probably mobile at some.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
probably come to your toilet at some point too.
Yeah.
So
Your Tesla will be able to
yeah,
play it.
you can play Cuphead in your Tesla. Why not Minecraft? Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, LeRon, you deep diving into those Minecraft trailers? You're awfully quiet.
I about halfway through I started skipping. I didn't actually see the show when it was live, when it premiered, because I was busy with work and stuff. So I watched it a few hours. Actually, I started watching around, shoot, 6 o'clock my time here on the East Coast.
Hmm.
And like after I've never been a Minecraft person to begin with, so like a Minecraft spin-off just wasn't going to be a thing for
Yeah,
me. It looks nice, it looks interesting, but I know for sure it's just not my bag.
yeah. No, I get it.
Hmm.
I get it.
Yeah, it looks good though, and like the stuff they talked about, like have like being able to ride like the pink tigers, that looked pretty cool. Like I guess that's coming from me, playing Monster Hunter Rise, and riding the Palamutes and stuff. But at the same time, like no offense to tower defense games, but like they bore me real fast.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
it.
I used to play Command and Conquer and stuff, and yeah, that's like the last time I really got into those kind of games.
Well, no, I love a good RTS game, but
Yeah,
this is not
well,
an
yeah,
this in my opinion is not an RTS.
yeah. No, yeah, it's like a almost like a third person version of an RTS or whatever.
Yeah. Well, but the second game they showed off looks incredible. Forza Motorsport looks incredible.
Oh yeah.
Also, the only game that didn't have a release date today, but
Hmm.
that game. I mean, Forza Horizon looked incredible, but this looks like what the Xbox Series consoles have been waiting for. This just,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really know anything about cars or like game development or anything, but the stuff they were showing, like the dynamic lighting on the tracks and the foliage growth and the way they kind of like did all the things with new tracks and old tracks and updating cars and updating the sounds of all the cars, and it just, man, I think I'm like one of the few people who prefer Motorsport over Horizon, because even though Horizon is like really cool and you can go anywhere and the cars are great and everything, like I feel like a more focused racing game feels better to me in a lot of ways. And I was actually really into Forza Motorsport 3 and 4 on the 360,
Hmm.
and this
yeah,
just this just looks awesome.
yeah. I think that's like it's been long enough now since we've got a really good like just strictly racing game. Like like Need for Speed has kind of done the open world thing now too, and like a lot of those other those other options have kind of did the open world stuff, and I'm just ready for a just a strict like racing game. Like I haven't played Gran Turismo since probably the PS2, but like I played those all the time. Like it was that, and I played like the F1 games and stuff like that on PS2, and like I used to love racing games. And then of course there was like Destruction Derby and all that 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 I got into. And now
Yeah,
it's
and weren't you really into yeah,
Wreckfest.
yeah, I was gonna bring up
Yeah.
Wreckfest. Weren't you really into Wreckfest for a while?
Yeah, Wreckfest is so much fun. Like I still want to one of these days like have a bunch of us like jump onto Wreckfest and just play like a because you can create your own races and stuff with just friends, and just have fun with it. Like
Mm,
just go in a big destruction derby match with a bunch of us people from Boss Rush and stuff would be kind of fun because it's on Game Pass, so anyone who's got Game Pass could literally jump on it. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fun, and it's so realistic. Just
Oh, I
the
know.
way like the damage on the vehicles and stuff, like actually depending on where it is, will slow you down or
Yeah.
like until you rip those pieces off, and then it will like
Hmm.
it's so realistic and just looks amazing.
Yeah. It's it's definitely something I'm going to be checking out when it comes out, because it's funny because
Hmm.
I actually showed because my dad is like really into cars, and this trailer featured a lot of old cars that he would be really into, and
Hmm.
I sent him a small clip of the trailer, and he couldn't believe that was a video game. Like, it was really, now granted he was probably watching it on his phone, and you
Yeah,
know but still
yeah.
super
I
cool.
mean, I mean, yeah. Like the one of the things because I didn't really I watched the trailer, the whole thing on my phone too.
Hmm.
But like visually it looked fine because my screen I think is like a 4K or 8K screen, but like the thing that I wanted to hear that I didn't get a chance to, I'm gonna watch it again just to hear, is like the sounds and stuff. Like I mean they kind of focused on the sound stuff quite a bit, and like how like I could hear it like when you're like you're used to, if you've ever gone off the edge of the road and you hit those rumble strip stuff, that like sound, that you could hear that, and like the kind of the sounds of everything happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be interesting, and like the season stuff. I'm glad they brought that back into this game now too.
Yeah, that'll be interesting how they like kind of monetize this as a game as a service. You know, I'm sure there'll be battle passes with cars and event cards and all kinds of
Hmm.
stuff. But definitely,
Yeah,
this is definitely an expensive game. No
yeah,
wonder there hasn't been one of these in like 4 years. So
yeah. I would imagine too they might have like maybe where you can get early access if you pay, like you can get early access to new
mm-hmm.
tracks and stuff like that.
Kind of
But
like they
then
do
they
with
eventually
Horizon.
will roll in. Yeah, and then they'll
Yeah,
eventually roll into the Game Pass, after a certain amount of time or something. But
yeah,
like, yeah, I would like to see them do like I want to see more games do like the Fortnite event stuff. Like have like, well, like while you're racing, you could be hearing like a band like performing live or something.
yeah.
Like,
That
well,
seems like something
and
that would be
like
more for
concert.
Horizon. That seems like something that
Yeah.
would be more for Horizon than Motorsport. But like, I know
Hmm.
what you're saying. I know where you're going.
Yeah.
So
Because like this Friday, I'm not gonna lie, I actually want to try to catch the concert that's happening in Fortnite.
oh, is there a concert in Fortnite this weekend?
Yeah, this Friday. Yeah, I believe
Huh.
so.
Well, you know
Yeah.
who it's not. Panic at the Disco. Womp womp.
Yeah, I saw
Rip.
the announcement today.
Yeah. Rip. It's
Yeah.
fine. Uh, either of you interested in Forza?
I am. I will probably give it a try. Like I'm more of an arcadey racing person. So of course, like Horizon is more my wheelhouse. Pardon the pun.
Ha!
um, but
Nerd.
yeah, like I want to give it a try. Like like I when a simulation racing game looks as good as like Forza and of course like Gran Turismo did, stuff like that, I always want to at least give it a try. Like it's guaranteed to at least get me a good 5 to 10 hours of play out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't deny how amazing this looks, but yeah, if I do racers, I'm more of the arcadey person. I know, so but like I said, it's one of those things where like wicked excited for Xbox finally, kind of again another thing to actually put on a legit roadmap, but just not something I would play.
I know.
Mhm.
I know.
Have you, LeRon, or have either of you played Wreckfest at all?
No.
No,
No. Did you guys ever play the Destruction Derby games back in the day?
Yeah.
no.
I played a
Okay.
few of them like back in the day, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, like car smash 'em up games. If it wasn't like Burnout, like just the Burnout games, like Paradise and stuff like that. Like usually I was just I it I'll pick up the controller for about 10-15 minutes and I'll find something else to do.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's no, I definitely get it. It's like yeah, one of those things. I mean, Destruction Derby back in the day kind of made it like goofy and fun, like where you're doing just like weird. The tracks were all weird and stuff like that to kind of make it more arcadey. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of arcadey, there's a secret game at this event today, which kind of leaked last week. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but Tango, there's a leak last week where they said that Tango was working on a game that wasn't a horror game, and they revealed it and released it today. Hi-Fi Rush. Uh, it's $30 if you don't have Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, it's available to you right now. Definitely gave off some Sunset Overdrive vibes a little bit, mixed with just like kind of old school kind of platforming. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Jack and Daxter too, in a weird way, in terms of just like platforming and the way like characters explode when you jump on them or fight them or whatever. Um, it looks really cool. I downloaded it. I think I'm gonna try a new thing for the Boss Rush channel, everybody. I'm gonna look at new games. I've set my recording stuff up over here. It's all ready to go to like the new I don't know if you guys are familiar with Giant Bomb Quick Looks or Game Informer's new gameplay today, where they play like anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour of a game, and just kind of show it off for something that's interesting or new or whatever. But this game looks really unique and different and cool. Definitely something I wouldn't have thought come out of Shinji Mikami, first of all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I
I mean,
know.
you just think of all the classic games like Resident Evil 4,
Resident Evil.
The Evil Within, what was the other game he was attached to that was super dark and scary? Like this is not what you think of when you think of him. This is super colorful. It's got like a comic book art style. It's got like a rhythm kind of combat system to it where like if you fight them on the beat, like you get a better chance of like crit hits and stuff.
Yeah. Which that got my buy-in right there because I love rhythm games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It looks super cool. So it'll probably be up before this podcast goes up, but it's this game looks really cool. I'm excited to try it out. I'm excited because it's a new
Mhm.
Xbox game on Game Pass, like an Xbox proper game
Mhm.
that I can play.
Yeah. Yeah, and there I tried that other game that was recently came on Game Pass that was also
What, Pentiment?
um yeah, whatever one was the where you it was a guitar like it was Hell something or
Oh,
I don't
Metal
remember. It
Hellsinger.
was
Metal
yeah.
Hellsinger.
Yeah, I tried that and I really did not get into that game.
That
Like I
according to story, that game is punishing.
yeah, yeah, I just couldn't get into the whole on beat stuff as much in that game. Like yeah, it was a little bit more punishing when you didn't when you missed like the beat and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And you have to, you know, I hate when you have to sync games, sync audio with video and all that kind of stuff too. You know, like it it kind of sucks that we're at that point now where you can't get past it really. You kind of have to try to sync things just because of it being all digital now and instead of analog. But
Yeah, it kind of seems though more like it doesn't rely on that. It just looks like if you do it correctly, you get, bonuses and stuff, which is cool.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Stephanie, did you have a chance to see this game?
I did not, but I heard about it.
You should
Sorry,
check it
my
out.
nose is my I'm like starting to sneeze and cough and everything, and I'm like now automatically defaulting myself to mute. Sorry.
It's
I'll
fine.
go look at it
We'll
now.
we'll clean it up. We'll wipe it all up.
Ew.
Yeah. I don't really care about Elder Scrolls. They announced a new Elder Scrolls expansion
Mhm.
slash another presentation after this presentation about this presentation.
Way to
So
sum it up.
if you are into ESO, you have new stuff to play. Cool. I think the main focus of this whole presentation was Redfall, which I
Yeah.
went from
Mhm.
being like, this game looks cool. I'm not really super into it, to watching this presentation. I was like, this game looks pretty cool. I want to play this, but I want to play with I want to play with friends, right? It's more of
Mhm.
a it seems more like a co-op Far Cry than a
Mhm.
Borderlands or you know
Mhm.
whatever else they were saying. It was, I
Yeah.
forget, what were they saying, like Fallout, I guess. I don't know, but it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
their kind of weird take on vampires and stuff. Uh, I'm really interested. I want to see how they fit like the arcane kind of do complete this however you want with a Far Cry open world. Seems really different. And I don't know if they did this
Yeah.
in Deathloop or not. I didn't play Deathloop. Probably should play Deathloop, but um yeah, I don't know. Redfall looks really interesting. I want to see how you can customize your classes, if you can customize your character. Didn't show if you can customize your character or not. I'm really down on that. I want to customize my character. I want to be someone cool looking. You know.
I wonder if
Yeah.
like vampires are going to be the new zombies as far as like the hot thing in gaming, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm.
Just seems like it.
I bet they will be. You
Mm,
watch.
mm.
Zombies out, vampires are in. It's
Yeah.
2001 all over again, guys. Watch out for
Well,
that Twilight reboot on Netflix.
No,
no,
no.
no,
That'll get
man.
one season and get
No,
canceled.
No,
there's
stop.
only there's only there's only one. Well, I don't even want to say the name of it because then that will just ruin it. But uh, the my favorite thing that had to do with vampires most recently was Midnight Mass. That show is so good.
Mm.
Mm,
That show is seriously one of my favorite of all times.
yeah.
It's really good if you haven't seen it.
I haven't. Probably won't. Sounds scary. Also has something to do with church and horror movies. Kind of like just seems scary. Not gonna lie.
They go
It
hand in
sounds.
hand, Corey.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Sounds really scary. So pass. Uh, anybody else interested in Redfall? Like I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like this game could be something really. I feel like this game could be kind of big for Xbox if it comes out and it starts getting even decent reviews, right? I mean, Game Pass has that built-in audience anyway, but um,
Yeah, I'm a little bit more positive on it now, but you know,
yeah.
we'll see.
The problem is it comes out like a week before Zelda,
That's the
and
thing. So
no
just gonna
offense,
have to wait.
Redfall, but Zelda takes priority over everything, literally everything.
Well, you got a week to play it. You got a
Oh
week to
yeah.
play it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
Yeah,
play it
you got a week
for
to
like
play it, so like make the most of it.
yeah, but Zelda.
Oh
Come on.
man, everybody's controller is going to be fused to their right hand, so just be prepared. That's going to be this entire year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. I had watched some other stuff prior to this like where they the developers kind of talked about them like even while they were making it, it became something that they really weren't like if I remember correctly, they said like they like were kind of surprised themselves at how it kind of turned out
Hmm.
and how the like it kind of changed from what they originally were doing and yeah kind of became what it is now. And I think that's the thing is like at first when they were trying to explain what this game was going to be like, it was kind of something different. And then yeah, like this what they've showed lately and what I've seen recently just looks a lot more interesting than what we kind of were thinking it was going to be from the beginning,
Hmm.
I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. I like the co-op stuff like that, the alien game that we had come out and
Hmm.
uh you know what is it, Back for Blood and stuff like that, you know
Yeah.
that kind of stuff
I'm
is
also a
always
big
fun.
fan of the little robot dog that distracts people.
Yeah.
They showed off on this. Big
Yeah.
fan. Uh, but yeah, I mean, they showed someone going in like guns blazing, and they showed kind of like the same mission with like a sniper rifle, right? And then they showed like somebody going in with a silenced pistol and this little robot dog, right? And that was like a really cool kind of hey, here's the arcane kind of staple where you can kind of tackle the situation however you want to or
Mhm.
need to, right? And so, not that I'm like a huge arcane person, but I like that they're taking what they know best and kind of implementing it into a new type of game because this is their first multiplayer game, right? I mean, Deathloop had a multiplayer element to it, but it wasn't like you know, you weren't going in with four characters and dominating this island, right? It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I wonder,
Yeah.
I
And
wonder how they're
are
gonna
the
monetize this one though. That's the thing.
I would imagine they're like you could probably I would imagine they're gonna do like different character skins and stuff that like you could get or things like that. Like if
Hmm.
like because I think this game is gonna kind of be if there's going to be um customization element to it. I think it's going to be more along the lines of a Fortnite where you can have different outfits for that character, but it's still going to be the same character
Yeah.
kind of thing. I
Yeah.
think that's how it's going to end up being. I don't think there's going to be like an actual created character.
Yeah. Man, that's kind of disappointing. But oh well, it's fine. Again, I'll probably play it for like 2 or 3 hours and it'll get lost in the shuffle with everything else that's being set aside. But yeah, so a lot of people were mad that Starfield wasn't here, but they already said Starfield wasn't going to be here.
I don't know why. I don't know
So
why they were mad.
because it's the
We knew it wasn't. We knew it wasn't going to be at the show.
and we know that it's getting its own showcase in like a month. So
It's possibly also delayed again.
yeah. So I mean, just relax, everybody. But I am glad that we kind of have like the beginnings of a roadmap for Xbox. It's been a long, 26 months, Jesse, since pretty much since Halo, essentially, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's been a long road for Xbox, and I'm glad we're starting to finally see the fruits of the labor that they've kind of been putting into these games. Um, so yeah, I'm happy to see. So, uh, so yeah, that's the Xbox conference. If you want to watch it, it's on the Xbox channel. I'm sure there's a story on bossrush.net with kind of like an overview or like the video or whatever. So you can check that out there too. Um, the last topic real quick before we wrap up here. So I've been playing a lot. Well, I played a lot of classic games the last couple days, either through Switch Online or Xbox, or I hooked up, like I said earlier, I hooked up a bunch of classic consoles. And like last night I was playing my GameCube, which, by the way, the only drawback to these old consoles is you can't just hit the home menu on your controller and pick a different game. You actually have to get up and like switch the discs, which really sucks.
My, how far we've come.
I know. And my chair is literally right there. My TV's right here, and it's like ugh, I gotta get up uh, and I was so lazy that I bought a cable extender for my GameCube controller. So, um, but other than that, it's like I'm looking at the stack of games that I have, and it's just like I was thinking about like where I was when I had this console, like a simpler time where I kind of feel like in some way or another, and LeRon, I'm sure you feel like this too, to an extent, where like everything has to be content these days because we're so involved in podcasting or streaming or
Yes.
recording.
Yes.
And yes, this stuff will eventually become that too, right? That I hooked up. But like I was just sitting there playing games like I was literally sitting on the floor in front of my TV playing all these games with the GameCube out on the floor because the controller didn't reach. And I was like thinking about, man, this was such a simple time to play games.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I was just really nostalgic about early to mid 2000s, and I even brought up my slim PS2 with a couple games too, right? Like the old God of War games and the Bouncer and all these weird Jack and Daxter and stuff like that. And it's the games, this era of games was just like really like a sweet spot. I feel like, not everything was connected, you know, not everything was, a YouTube video because there wasn't YouTube back then.
Mm-hmm.
And like all the guides that I have for these GameCube games and, notes in the margins and sticky notes and folded up pieces of paper with codes on them. And like I found a folded up piece of paper in my Rogue Squadron 2 box with all the codes to unlock all the vehicles and levels and stuff. And I was like, man, what a no, like kids these like I'm gonna sound like an old man. Kids these days are just not gonna understand the joy of like going into like AOL keyword search and going to like videogamecheatcodes.com and looking up these cheat
Mm-hmm.
codes for these games, and like
Mm-hmm.
writing them all
Now
down
you
because because you didn't have like 50 cents to print them out at the library or something, right? And it's like
Yeah.
it was
And
so
now you
like
got to spend $30 on a a battle pass to unlock all that stuff.
I know. And like back then I was, I was didn't have a lot of money because I was, in high school or right out of high school and stuff. I'm looking at some of my game cases. I bought Metroid Prime for $5 at the exchange, which is like the store right down the street. And like my Mario Kart Double Dash has a $15 sticker on it. And I'm just like, man, I I stole these games,
Yeah.
And then I got really sad because I'm missing like 2/3 of my GameCube collection because of life situations and you know, but I'm just like, man, Luigi's Mansion is a jam. Pikmin is awesome. Soul Calibur 2, like everybody had to have the GameCube version because it had Link in it, right? Like Double Dash still sucks, but it's I hate Double Dash. I hated Mario Kart all the way up until like the DS. Man, Diddy Kong Racing, top tier. Okay, just throwing that out there. But is there any? I guess what I'm trying to get to is like, are there any like specific eras of gaming that make you feel like I was kind of feeling yesterday of just like a simpler time, not a lot of worries. You kind of had a little bit of money burning holes in your pocket. You know,
Oh, absolutely. But I think LeRon raised his hand because he's trying to be all
yes,
polite and stuff.
yeah,
PlayStation 1 era. Oh my god. PlayStation 1 era. And with the PlayStation 1 era, I also include the Sega Saturn era. Oh my
mm,
god.
you were a Saturn
Yo,
kid, huh?
yes, yeah, yes, yeah.
Guy, I guess.
Well, Saturn was the freaking system because like all those Capcom fighting games and stuff like that. If
Oh
you
yeah.
import the 64 megabyte freaking adapter,
Mm-hmm.
every game was basically arcade perfect.
Yep.
Every
Hmm.
game you played was like you might as well. I was like, I can save all my quarters now and stop going to the arcade because like the Saturn already had the classic 6-button controller and all that stuff. Man, it was. But yeah, the PS1 and the Sega Saturn era was like it was also the era where I got into like JRPG overload. Like like you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a new or interesting like JRPG game on the PS1 side for sure.
Hmm.
And of course like on the Sega Saturn side, the Panzer Dragoon games. Oh my god, I would honestly kill to get my hands on the Sega Saturn and working discs for those. I don't know what type of stupidity I was on and I got rid of my Sega Saturn.
I actually just sold my Saturn like 2 years ago.
Oh man,
Yeah, I had
what
I,
what
what?
what good games did you have for it?
I mean, I didn't really have any great games for it. I had like a couple racing games like Sega Daytona
Well,
USA and Sega
Uh
Sega GT, I think.
oh my god,
Was it Sega GT at the time?
Daytona.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god.
what else did I have for it? I had Tomb Raider for it. I had FIFA International Soccer, which was I remember really enjoying at the time. Um, I didn't really have a lot of games for Saturn. I just wanted it because I at the time I had just gotten a Dreamcast and I was like, well, I don't have a Saturn. I should probably get one of those. And
hmm.
oh my gosh, dude! By the time the Dreamcast came out, those memory expansion units for Saturn were so expensive. Oh my god,
Yes.
they were
Yeah.
awful, so expensive. Uh,
Yeah, I don't even remember. I'm embarrassed to even think how much money I probably spent importing one of those 64 megabyte cartridges, but it was worth it. It was
yeah,
worth it, and I had foolish money to spend back then.
yeah. Well, we all did kind of, right? So
Yeah.
it it was, man, what a wild time in games, man. So speaking of PS1 though, I brought up a couple PS1 games that I have. I own very few. Uh, but I kept my Black Label Final Fantasy 8 and 9. Um, and I have a really terrible 007 racing game, which It's called 007 Racing, but it's not a racing game. It's a car combat game. Where it's just all car based missions, and you drive all the different cars from 007. It's kind of bad, but it's also kind of cool.
So it's
And
more like
then,
a Twisted Metal.
well, I mean, it's not even really Twisted Metal. It's more just like a mission based 007 game, but you only drive cars instead of
Oh, okay.
like shoot people.
Okay.
So that's cool. And then I don't know. PS1 was weird, man. I never really got into PlayStation, and I still not really into PlayStation. But there's a couple gems that I still enjoy, especially on PS2. Right, like Jack and Daxter's one that the original I remember 100%ing. Um, the first two God of War games, God of War 2 is like a top 10 game of all time for me. Game still legit. Has a widescreen mode on it, and I have the component cables, so I can play it at 480p in widescreen on my 4K TV. It's rad.
I'm
Even though
sorry.
I
I'm
could
still
just
Yeah.
tinkering. I'm still tinkering around with my PS Vita.
even though I could just play the HD version on like a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Since they won't go backwards compatible with it.
You know,
PlayStation 3.
this poses a good question. Uh, with all the games getting like remakes and like ports and all that stuff, I'm talking about just the classics, like games that are like are just getting re-released on like the newer systems. Do you prefer to play the originals, or are you happy with just the, I don't know, let's just say, let's just call them an update. So like a PS1 game that is suddenly on the PlayStation 5 store,
Let
like
me let me
what.
let me share my opinion with that, LeRon.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
prefer when you can play the older games in an updated fashion on the newer consoles.
Hmm.
Okay,
It's just
okay.
way easier, especially
Yes.
like especially like Xbox and PlayStation, where the controller essentially hasn't changed since those boxes come out, right? Like, I mean, I know the
Hmm.
DualSense is different than the DualShock, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not what I'm trying to say, but the essential, like the button layout, the sticks are in the same spot, you know, it's all the same, right? Same with Xbox, right? I mean, that Xbox hasn't changed their controller essentially since the 360 controller. So like all those games still work. It's the freaking Nintendo stuff that kills me, man. Like, I mean, they're selling old controllers for the Switch so you can play those games properly, which is like, oh my god, what are you doing? Uh, and then I
Yeah,
bought them
and
all
when you
anyway.
get a well, when you get the thing is it's all nostalgia because when you get a chance to play the original versions of those games
Yeah.
on the original consoles, you find out a lot of the times that, man, how did we enjoy this? Like still to this day, like when I had I had got an N64 again, and I popped in 007 GoldenEye, and I played it, and as soon as the screen started flickering and everything was freezing because too many explosions were going off, I'm like, how the hell did we ever enjoy this game? Like, you can't do anything without it just like freezing and like just stuttering
Yeah,
if
you
stuff
nailed it
is going on.
right on the head. And the fact that you said N64, I'm like, unfortunately, my nostalgia occurred during like a console where probably aged the worst, like graphics and
Hmm.
everything. Like, I talk about Zelda all the time, so I'll try and pick another game. Like, I really love Donkey Kong 64. I don't know why. It's like I really freaking loved that game when I was a kid or when I was whatever young. Every time I try and go back and play it, I just can't because the camera angles suck so bad.
Mhm.
I just
Yeah.
want to throw my controller across the room. Like I don't understand. Not so like
What
yeah.
I was just gonna say, but still, it's probably one of the better games on
No,
that
no, it is.
console, I
It
think.
is. I mean, same
Yeah.
thing with like Banjo Kazooie when it went on NSO expansion pack, and then Corey told me, well, they fixed the some of that stuff on the Xbox side. So I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would go back and fix some of the stuff like Banjo Kazooie, because like if you look at GoldenEye, like they released GoldenEye this week, on
Mhm.
Friday, I think it's coming out, and
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch Online version, like it's part of the Nintendo 64 expansion pass, but it's got widescreen support. It's got modern controller support. It's got online multiplayer. Like, I wish they would go back and fix that stuff for some of the games that are on the other consoles or like other
Yeah.
re-releases like Mario 64. I wish they would fix. I wish they would fix like, you know, even if they like implemented some of the 3DS controls to the 64 versions of Zelda, like that would be really really nice.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you saw that, but like I can't believe GoldenEye is getting widescreen support and proper controller
Yeah.
support, like right
Yeah.
stick camera control support.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Nintendo's kind of seen like, there's been quite the, like it's been in the news quite a bit, that game, and like we've had it where they've talked about like re-releasing it on Xbox and that never happening. And I think the thing is like that was like legit one of the biggest games probably on N64, and if they
Mm,
were to bring it out and just kind of you know mail it in, I think they would have been hearing about it for years and years and years to come, like because just so many people are nostalgic for that game. Like,
yeah,
I mean, like that was for a lot of people what got them into first person shooters, like
yeah,
like that, you know
Mm-hmm.
hmm yeah.
so
So
I don't think they could mail that one in and get away with it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I had a lot of fun with N64. Also, like some of those games are. I was going through some of the stuff last night while I couldn't sleep too. Is like, and I didn't hook up my N64 because most of the games I want to play are either available through Rare Replay on Xbox or through NSO, right? So I'm just like, I have these controllers. I don't feel like I need to hook up my Nintendo 64 to play these games. But like,
Hmm.
I have so many things in like N64. Like, I have both Zelda games complete in box, like gold cartridge complete in box. I'm like, I need to display these somewhere,
The heck?
or like Mario 64 complete in box, or some of these games that meant a lot to me then, complete in box. I'm like, this is probably like, and I know people have like these super complete collections, but I'm like, this is probably like a if somebody had a collection of like 25 games, like this is a pretty complete collection of all the greatest N64 games, and they're all complete in box except for two of them, you know?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Because like I bought GoldenEye used because my parents wouldn't let me get it, and I ended up buying it anyway. So, and it was in a GameStop bin for like $7 or something, right? So I don't have the
Hmm.
box for that. And like, I don't know, something else like Yoshi's Story or whatever, but nobody cares about that game except for
I
maybe
think
Ed.
another part
I
of the
liked it.
nostalgia is like not just maybe the console or game itself, but just everything around it. Like what tied my nostalgia to that is the Blockbuster experience. Going to
Hmm.
Blockbuster and renting a game. And Corey, you touched on it, like looking at Nintendo Power or the game guides. I loved just getting my N64 game. I didn't own a lot. And I would pull out the little guide and I would just flip through it, use my imagination, and
Hmm
I don't know. It's all that stuff. All of it is the complete package, and it's
Yeah,
you know
I mean,
not the same.
those instruction manuals were really important in
Yeah.
the '90s
Hmm.
and early 2000s, right? Like, I mean, even in the '80s too, right? Like, I remember taking my Pokemon Red and Blue instruction manuals with me in the car when I wasn't allowed to take my Game Boy because I wanted to at least be entertained and
Right.
entertained by something that I loved, right? Or like the Ocarina of Time strategy guide. I remember taking it on the
Mhm.
bus to school, and those things were just so important. And
Hmm.
I kind of wish I had the foresight to keep those things nicer than I did. I mean, all my boxes are kept nice, but like strategy guides and stuff are just shredded because I use them so much. I use like my Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time strategy guides are just like shredded and like written in and sticky notes and papers stuffed in and taped together because like I wasn't careful with them. I would just lay them on the floor and like flip through them real quick and oh, I got to get that,
Hmm.
and then I would like take a sticky note and write something here like, oh, the strategy guide said to do this, but I did this and I think it's better. So the next time I play this game, I'll know to do this. And like, in like the Skulltulas and Ocarina of Time, I would take like right in the margins of the strategy guide and be like, oh, the Skulltula was a pain in the butt. I got to do this. Next time I got to get behind it and whatever.
Aw.
No, I just simpler times. It's
No,
just
no,
like
I didn't desecrate my books like that.
well what I started doing was I would buy because they started coming out with the hardback ones, right? And so what I would do is I would buy the hardback ones to display on my shelf and keep real nice. And some of them are actually still sealed. But then I would buy the paperback ones to use. So
No, I did wear the fuck out some of my old strategy guides.
yeah.
Like like my original strategy guide for the very first Monster Hunter game, like the spine fell apart in that one. Um, my Final Fantasy Tactics, the original one from the PS1 days, like that's another one that like it's not so much that the spine gave out; it's more like the pages just started falling out of it.
Yeah.
So like I would go to like Office Max or whatnot and just buy like the report covers, the report page covers.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just throw it all in the spiral notebook and just it's the update to the strategy guide and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like I tried my best not to desecrate my strategy guides because like the original artwork and stuff in them was just way too nice. It was like having an added bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add too about the whole nostalgia thing, and kind of touch on some stuff that we've kind of talked about. Like, I think, like now, I feel like we still have a lot of hardware that you can get for the consoles, but it's more of customization versus like stuff you actually needed. If you wanted to improve like you were talking about improving the game where you can get the 62, bit thing or like
Yeah,
I feel like back in the day, like everything that came out from strategy guides to the hardware, like it was all stuff that you either wanted or you needed, like, and now it's just, like maybe it's not really a bad thing that we don't need all this different stuff in order to play the games we want to play, but like I think it was just like so much bigger of a deal when you went to like a video game store, or like we had a we had a place that called TriStar that sold like used and new games and stuff like that. It was a video game store, but he also had the whole basement was all an arcade where everyone lined up to play Street Fighter and verse each other. And then he had at one point he had the those original big circular things you'd stand in to play VR.
Mm.
Like it was just an experience. Like when you went to go do something with video games, it was just this massive experience that like is just kind of been slowly going away. We don't really have like midnight releases anymore. We don't have like like there there's events and things that I feel like used to be better in the gaming world, and it's kind of weird that in a way that as gaming has gotten more popular, less of that stuff exists now. Like
Yeah.
it's weird. It's kind of a weird situation, but like yeah, like I mean just going to midnight releases for games and things like that. Like that was such a fun experience, and those are things that again like you're not really going to be able to experience as much anymore.
Mm.
Um but
Yeah.
like yeah, and like for me, as far as the console stuff, like yeah, for me it was also like PlayStation, the PlayStation 1 and Dreamcast and all that. Like I was a Sega, mostly a Sega kid, and then and PlayStation, and then yeah, the 64 was the first like Nintendo console that I had to get like when it came out. Like I bought that like the day it came out. But yeah, like for me, it was me and my cousins or whatever. We would make a blanket fort around the TV, and we'd have the PlayStation in there, and we'd be playing like Twisted Metal or like I got into well, I loved Wild Arms. Like, well, everyone I liked Final Fantasy, but Wild Arms was the RPG game that I ended up getting attached to for whatever reason. But um yeah, so it is kind of PlayStation and Sega for me that kind of got it, like, really, got really hardcore into gaming. So
Cool. Well, we're gonna wrap it there. This is a good discussion. I like. I don't know. I've had this really big feeling of nostalgia lately, and it just, you
mhm.
know. So, all right, but we're gonna wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to the Boss Rush podcast. Remember, you can get it a week early on Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushMedia for as little as $1. Stephanie, LeRon, Jesse, thank you for your time tonight, as always. I love Wednesday nights. Follow us on Twitter at Boss Rush Podcast. Check out bossrush.net. All that good stuff. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
So long.
Bye.
The Boss Rush Podcast is a product of Boss Rush Media, LLC, and is recorded from our headquarters in Akron, Ohio. This show is produced, written, and directed by me, Corey Deering. My co-hosts are Stephanie Klimov, LeRon Dawkins, and Edward Barnell. You can find Stephanie at Klimov_author on Twitter and Instagram, as well as on the EXPcast. You can find LeRon at Exodus803 on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, and also on Crossroads, the video game podcast. You can find Edward at ThatRetroCode on Twitter and Instagram, as well as hosting Nintendo Power Block. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at IamCoreyInHD, and find me hosting Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, and co-hosting Nintendo Power Block. Find the Boss Rush Podcast on all social media platforms at Boss Rush Podcast. You can also follow Boss Rush Media and Boss Rush Network on all major social media platforms. Join the Boss Rush Network Discord and Facebook groups to interact with other friends and fans. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.